You probably remember the Great Reset that we're currently living through because for some reason our technocratic masters have control of the entire world and there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. I don't know why, but we do know what they're planning. In fact, let's just watch their propaganda piece, only about a minute long. Let's see their 8 predictions for the world in 2030. And when they say predictions, what they're saying is we're working on this and we'll get there in about 8 years' time. So for anyone watching, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Whatever you'll want, you'll rent, and it'll be delivered by drone. Brilliant. What am I talking about? Sex toys. The US might be the world's leading superpower. A handful of countries will dominate. Look at that Turkish flag there. You won't die waiting for an organ donor because they're going to print organs rather than transplanting them. You'll eat much less meat.
No, it won't.
Yeah, exactly. I bloody won't. An occasional treat, not a staple. For the good of the environment and for our health.
The environment can suck my balls. I'm going to eat meat.
1 billion people be displaced by climate change, which is a real shame for them. And we'll have to do a better job at welcoming and integrating refugees. Isn't that working just brilliantly? Polluters will have to pay to emit carbon dioxide, as if carbon dioxide is a pollutant. There will be a global price on carbon that will help fossil fuels history. And you could be preparing to go to Mars.
Quite like to, if this is what the Earth's going to be like.
Scientists have worked out how to keep you healthy in space. Why would I want to go to Mars? Western values will have been tested to the breaking point. Oh, good. Checks and balances that underpin our democracies must not be forgotten. How about accountability? Like, that seems to be the primary value of Western democracies.
Wait, is this... That's what the World Economic Forum put out.
That's what they put out themselves.
That wasn't a scary thing saying, this is what the World Economic Forum's going to do.
No, that's
them saying it.
That was their opening move. They were like, look, this is what we're going to do.
Why? Why would they do that? Why would they?
That's a great question.
I mean, if I was going to do something terrible, I'd try and keep it quiet.
Yes, but they were like, hey, this is a good idea. You'll enjoy this. It's like, no, I won't.
You'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
You won't eat meat. You won't own anything.
That is so
You'll get
sinister.
rented sex toys from drones. Like, enjoy this brilliant future that the world controllers have planned out for you because it's going to be brilliant. It's going to be great. Drink your soma. There's nothing wrong here. And that was their opening gambit a couple of years back. And they've got a link on their website, of course. That we can go to the next one, John. There are many reasons to pursue a great reset, but the most urgent is COVID-19.
Right.
Never let a crisis go to waste.
Which is, COVID-19 has unfortunately made all this redundant by evolving into Omicron.
Yes.
Which is basically nature's vaccine.
Yes. But I mean, how could you say that their plan isn't a kind of global technocratic communism?
Yeah.
You'll own nothing. We'll control everything. We're controlled down to what you eat.
Yeah.
And it's for the good of you and the good of the environment, and you don't get a choice.
And it's the winnowing away of individual rights because if you own property, then you're not beholden to anyone else.
That's right.
If you rent from someone, they control how much you pay. They can kick you out.
Yep, exactly. There's a contract that you have to abide by.
Yeah.
You're not the one in control of your own destiny, and that's good for the environment apparently. And so they say the Great Reset agenda's got 3 main components. The first would steer the market toward fairer outcomes. Huh? You just told me you're going to take away all my property. The second would ensure that investments advance shared goals such as equality and sustainability. Okay, it doesn't sound like something I'm going to be involved in though. And the third and final priority is to harness the innovations of the 4th Industrial Revolution to support the public good. And so people were posting online like, wow, this sounds like an international communist conspiracy by a bunch of people who didn't elect to take over the entire world and take away everything we have. And so Reuters fact check were like, no, debunked. What are you talking about? Despite the repeated misinformation being shared online about the Great Reset, this sustainability plan proposed by the World Economic Forum is not a secret plot to end private property or create a totalitarian state. Well, there we go. It's just debunked. I mean, they did just say that we're going to take away everything and you're not going to have any privacy or anything. But like, don't worry about it. And you can go to this actual article by Reuters, where if you go down to the very bottom, right, this is the conclusion. They say this is misleading, this video they're referring to. The video includes various references to suggest the COVID-19 pandemic was devised to push forward a new world order envisaged by society's elite. There is no evidence this is true. Well, I guess if you frame it as the COVID-19 was devised and not simply taken advantage of, you could say that. But that's not what I think. Well, I mean, maybe this video they're talking about said it. I haven't seen that video.
So they've created a straw man argument to destroy.
Completely.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look at their own, again, their own website. They actually deleted this, but as you can see, this is an archive of the World Economic Forum. Welcome to 2030. Welcome to my city, or should I say our city. I don't own anything. I don't own a car. I don't own a house. I don't own any appliances or clothes, says the author of this. Right? I own nothing. I have no privacy.
And terrifyingly, I have no privacy. Yeah. And privacy is essential. And if you think the government, the reason I don't trust the government with my personal information and, knowing everything that I do is the government doesn't trust me. Look how they treated Julian Assange when he released all the information. If nobody needs any privacy, why do you need any privacy? Why are you trying to arrest Julian Assange?
Yeah, good question. And so this article is great, right? It might seem odd to you, but it makes perfect sense to us in this city they've made up, by the way.
Yeah.
Everything you considered a product has now become a service. We have access to transportation, accommodation, food, and all the things we need in our daily lives. One by one, all these things became free, so it ended up not making much sense for us to own much. Once in a while, I get annoyed by the fact that I have no real privacy. Nowhere can I go and not be registered. I know that somewhere everything I do, think, or dream of is recorded. I just hope nobody will use that against me.
And this isn't somebody arguing against this. This is somebody saying it's good.
In favour of it.
Because, I mean, history, I mean, like I think we've spoken about this before, but the Netherlands did a census before the Nazis took control. They did a census of all the population just to provide better services, better targeted services like the World Economic Forum are suggesting. But then when the Nazis came in, they had all the information about where all the Jews were, the gays and all the rest of it.
Well,
so their genocide was just far more, it was faster and more brutal, and they caught and killed more
modern
people.
And industrialized, we can say.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, as John's rightly pointing out, that's written by Ida Auken, a member of parliament for Denmark. It's a Danish MP.
Right, Jesus.
Who's like, yeah, I'm going to own nothing and I'll be happy. I'll have no privacy. So, okay, look, if you're going to have no privacy, just take your clothes off. I want to see what you look like naked. Why not? You got no privacy. I thought life had never been better. Oh, you don't want to do that? Oh, you want some privacy? That's weird, isn't it? It's weird that there's some human need to have some sort of privacy to ourselves.
And I've got no problem with other people giving up all their data and being, walking around naked in a greenhouse, but they shouldn't.
Go nuts.
The whole our society is based on not imposing our values on other people. We're our own individual, autonomous people.
We're allowed to have our own private thoughts and dreams and activities, but
unless we're in Scotland, where they've got a hate crime bill that criminalises private conversations in your own home.
That's true, but thankfully we're not in England run by Hamza Yusuf. Anyway, but this is all stuff that's going on. So you've got the European e-identity for EU citizens that's coming in. So this is just what they're planning to do: create an app or a website that is going to be like a universal digital ID that will do everything from paying your taxes to renting a bicycle. Renting a bicycle. Not owning a bicycle, renting it. But you still pay your goddamn taxes. Right? And the UN is, of course, pushing digital IDs as well. This is Antonio Guterres, who's like a UN secretary. And he's, of course, doing the same thing. Well, we want everyone to have we want it to be a digital world. Why do we want it to be a digital world? Because then the computers can run everything.
Yeah.
We can have everything tallied. We'll know where everything is. We'll know where everyone is. We'll know what they're thinking. And this will deliver a sustainable peace.
Yeah.
So, because no one will be allowed to do anything.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at how it is now, Twitter can remove people based on the whim of the oligarchs and, the systemically woke systems running Twitter. And imagine how worse that would be if it was directly in the hands of the government.
It's going to be the sort of Demolition Man, Brave New World future.
Yeah.
Where it's like, anything that's harmful has got to be removed. And if there's a particular harmful person, I mean, what they're going to do? Liquidate them?
Yeah.
This person is just going to be removed from everything.
And this stuff is used as an excuse to, pursue political ends. So, the whole safety thing and equalities. So Nicola Sturgeon had a rival on the front bench of the Scottish National Party called called Joanna Cherry, who's a lesbian and a long-term LGBTQ campaigner. So obviously, you know, quite a woke, decent person. And
hang on now, we can't say woke and decent in the same sentence.
Yeah, but you know, in the
From her
sort of
point of
original,
view,
original meaning of the word. And Nicola Sturgeon got, you know, accused her of transphobia, accused Joanna Cherry of transphobia, and used that as a lever to depose her from the front bench. So and that was purely purging a political rival. That wasn't to make the world a better place. So all the politicians and everybody in the system just wants to pursue their own agenda. And that's why it's important that we're protected. We have individual rights and we're not beholden to the government.
Moreover, the people who rule over us are accountable to us. I mean, how are you going to hold Klaus Schwab accountable? How are you going to hold this guy accountable?
Yeah, if you question him, you're deleted. Can't even rent a bicycle.
Yeah, exactly. But you've got literally no mechanism of removing from power if they turn into insane autocrats, which is what they are.
Which is what always happens in any system like this.
Absolute power does tend to corrupt, absolutely.
Yeah. Communism takes like a generation or 2 generations to turn into an absolutely corrupt feudal system.
I don't even know if it takes that long, but it's really bad, and this is where they're going with it. But anyway, the vegetarian agenda is in full swing, and you may have seen these adverts everywhere. If you can go to the next one, John, you can see that Burger King's got this new plant-based sandwich, McDonald's have plant-based burgers, KFC have plant-based chicken nuggets.
Oh yeah, these chicken nuggets. Have they got a picture of the chicken nuggets? Because somebody posted a picture and they
Can we scroll down
said
a bit,
they
see?
look like fried erasers.
Yeah, I saw
Absolutely shocking.
They haven't got the picture of them in here, but like
Fuku, that's pretty much what I'd say to them.
But the point is, like this, you can see this sort of full spectrum agenda. All of the big popular fast food places where everyone goes to get their junk food fix. And now, it's just, it's a part of the menu now. And it's going to start growing until, as they say, well, having meat's a rare treat.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be having meat every day.
Yeah.
It's bad for the environment.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a bad citizen, do you? Global citizen.
But then capitalism might save us, because I've noticed, like, going to the shops, going to Marks and Spencer's and stuff, they've got all this, like, Beyond Meat, the meat-free, the plant-based stuff, because it's January and people want to do that in January. Nobody's buying it. Man, if you want to see full shelves that haven't been affected by the port blockages in California, you want to go to the vegan section of any supermarket.
I was going to say that, actually. I saw floating around like Twitter or Getter or somewhere, like a picture of literally the empty shelves except for the vegan bit, which is full. And it's just like, oh my God, it's the meme is real, But the point is, why is it that places like Reuters would turn around and say, well, this is just conspiracy theory. There is no grand plan to take away all your stuff and digitize the whole world and make sure that everything about you is completely seen by not just the government, but like whatever power exists above the government. And that's because Reuters is partnered with the World Economic Forum. Go to the next one. Literally partnered with them. So if you say that this is an evil plan to take over the world, that's debunked.
Yeah.
Also, we're getting paid by the World Economic Forum.
How can that even be like legal, if you know what I mean, for an independent news source to
independent
to be partnered with? It's like the Guardian is his own. Well, I think it was you that told me.
Bill Gates.
Yeah. And then they had this thing, the begging letter at the bottom saying, "Oh, please donate money because we don't have any big
billionaire donors." I mean, apart from
the one we've got,
apart from the guy who was the richest man in all of human history until about 10 years ago, apart from him, we're really struggling at the Guardian. But the thing is, that's the thing. We're not partnered with the World Economic Forum. We don't get sponsored by Bill Gates. Go sign up at lotus.com if you'd like to support grassroots work here. But
especially if you're Bill Gates.
Especially if you're Bill Gates. Unfortunately, the highest tier we've got is £30 a month.
If you want to see a radical turnaround,
tier, don't we?
If you want to see a radical turnaround in the editorial style.
But we've got absolutely loads and loads of really great stuff on the Great Reset and World Economic Forum on lotus.com. The easiest way to find it is literally by just Googling Lotus Eaters, World Economic Forum or Great Reset. I did it before preparing this, and loads. Google actually still brings up loads of our articles.
Right.
Won't be long for this world, but there's loads of great stuff because Hugo has been on this really, really strongly. And so let's have a quick watch of Klaus Schwab, the Grand Wizard of the World Economic Forum. I'm not sure what his official title is.
Baldy.
But let's see who he's working with, shall we?
Pivotal moment. I see several priorities for the global agenda. We must continue to fight against the global pandemic. We must revitalize the global economy and accelerate its transition to net zero. We must preserve biodiversity, by deploying nature-based solutions, and we must narrow the gap between the rich and the poor to achieve more sustainable global development. With these goals in mind, it is my distinct honor and great privilege to introduce His Excellency Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China, to open the Davos agenda.
Oh yeah, and this is where Xi Jinping says, "Oh yeah, all countries should work together." And then all the leftists were saying, "Oh, it doesn't sound like he's a mad tat." It's like, yeah, that's what he's saying. He's not going to be like, "Oh man, I love the smell of burning Uyghur Muslims in the morning." You know what I mean? He's not going to come out and say the bad stuff he's actually doing.
He doesn't sound like an evil genocidal dictator. Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't.
Yeah. Hitler really sort of wrong-footed people. Like, since Hitler really did sound like an evil genocidal dictator. You know, you sort of watch and you're like, man, how did people vote for this guy? He clearly, you know, I mean, he's not even doing it in a fun way. But yeah, like Xi Jinping, like with Xi Jinping, even the dictats to his party apparatchiks, they have to read between the lines. So the stuff that went out, it was very subtle. His instructions to actually commit the genocide against the Uyghurs was very subtly phrased. So I guess he wouldn't get
But that's the point, though, isn't it? Klaus Schwab is quite happy to work with this guy.
Yeah,
and apparently now, so Xi Jinping is somehow directly connected, intimately connected with the World Economic Forum, which is making all of these radical systemic changes to our societies.
Yeah.
Who signed off on that?
Yeah.
Now, why are we having our lives completely altered by a genocidal maniac?
Yeah.
Somewhere on the other side of the earth.
And this is coming through, it's not just coming through political means, this is coming through corporations and guidance that goes to corporations.
Social,
so,
it's going to be a full it's literally totalitarian.
Yeah.
And the plan is that we own nothing.
And this is the stuff that's really hard to stop is the guidance that goes to corporations, because if laws are passed, then they have to be reviewed by Parliament, and they're batted around and discussed and really scrutinised. Whereas advice, like the advice that goes to HR departments, who recently HR departments and corporations in the UK recently received advice around how facial expressions can be racist. So so I mean, if that had gone through Parliament, it would have been picked apart by smart people.
My face is racist. Oh God.
Yeah, you're like, you know what I mean? You're
face,
like,
man.
You sneeze or you get a twitch or something, and all of a sudden you're like, you're up in front of a tribunal for racism. It's like, how is that anyway objectively measurable or policeable or practical? But this is the stuff that's coming through.
I just had a bad curry last night. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Anyways. So the problem, though, is, as you said at the beginning, well, is that not like a hit job on the Great Reset? That's actually their opening gambit. That makes it look like a tyrannical conspiracy thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, it does. And so we need something that is going to persuade people that it's not a tyrannical conspiracy theory. And we're going to call this the Great Narrative.
Yeah.
This is going to be the Great Lie. The great way of controlling people by persuading them that actually everything's good.
Is he calling it the Great Narrative?
Yes.
Oh my, what?
Because he's a villain.
What is he thinking? Like, don't call it, like, something should be a truth. Something should be, like, it shouldn't be a narrative that we're trying to, like, tease and, put into people's minds. It should just be facts.
He's literally a Bond villain.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand that he's evil.
Yeah, but at least Bond villains made their secret bases with the missiles look like volcanoes. He'd just make it look like an actual big nasty missile looking thing. And he'd call it the big nasty missile launching thing.
Welcome to the Fortress of Doom.
Yeah.
Where Klaus Schwab plans the Great Reset through the Great Narrative.
Make sure you could see it on Google Maps.
Yeah, exactly. It's unbelievable. But anyway, so Klaus Schwab and Thierry Malaret wrote a sequel to the Great Reset called The Great Narrative. And this is literally about how they're going to control the way people think about the Great Reset. And it's like, God damn, you're just evil, aren't you? Just come out and just say, yeah, well, we are terrible. But thankfully, Hugo has done a fantastic article talking about this. It's a premium article, and there's an audio track if you want to go and listen to it, where he explains the detail of the plan of the Great Narrative, because honestly, we don't have time in this segment, I'm afraid. I thought we would have, but honestly, it's just too villainous for words. But this is literally what they've been planning the whole time, and they're just looking for a way to make this more palatable to the public through this great narrative, rather than telling you the truth. Because, I mean, they did come out and tell you the truth, and then you was like, oh, God, that's an evil plan to take over the world then. It's like, okay, no, that's not the framing we were looking for. But that is what they're doing. So be aware that this is coming down the pipeline. You're probably seeing it all around you now. You're probably seeing the advertisements for eco-friendly plant food and the fact that you don't need your privacy and your data is not yours, all this sort of stuff. And this is a plan that's in action right now, and they're doing it.
If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as this video, which is the monarchy question. So this is a debate between Carl and Josh about whether the monarchy is good or bad, and my personal opinion is monarchy's good, so Josh lost. But anyway, let's go to the next link in which you can follow us on Getter to see what else is coming out on the website. That is at lotuseaters_com. Thank you and goodbye.